How do you get the balance between being a working mum and an entrepreneur? Because you seem to have that balance through that, and you're home-educated children, so it's not getting them from you.
I was thinking actually when I just finished, I was thinking that was something that I hadn't covered, was actually delegation. And I think the importance of knowing what you do best and focusing on that and finding other people to do what they do best to support you in those other roles, and not trying to do the things that you don't do best. Because I feel like there's things that I do really well. I make cakes really good. I talk to a room full of people that I've never met really good. I find that, I'm really happy to do this. There could be 100 of you and I'd be really happy, and I didn't prepare anything. This comes naturally to me. I find this is fun, this is easy to me. So there's things that I do really well, and I want to get really good at those things, and I want to really hone my skills in those areas. And then there's other things that I'm not good at, like accounts. And I was telling them, we just went on holiday in France, and there was 5 of us sharing the apartment, and I told 2 of them the wrong nightly figure because I did the maths wrong, and they were both a bit cross with me. But it's like, don't ask me to, I can't read maps, don't ask me to read maps. I'm the worst person in the world at reading maps. So it's knowing what your strengths and your weaknesses are, I think. And again, it's having faith that, so, I really believe, like Steve was just saying this about this network when we arrived today, is that it seems to have a life of its own, and it's doing really well. People are really interested in it, it's gathering momentum. And I think that's the thing, is like when you, I think it's a Socrates, someone was telling me the other day, Socrates, the Greek philosopher, it was his idea, is that there's just ideas floating around in the ether, and it's like they choose you almost. It's not like you choose them, they choose you. And definitely with something like cacao, I feel like I work for the cacao gods. I'm serving the cacao gods. The cacao gods choose people, and they say, we need you to get the message of chocolate out into the world. So, it doesn't have to be a grandiose thing, but it's like picking the ideas that need to happen in the world, that need to be manifested in the world, and knowing that you're in service. I work for Raw Living. Raw Living is my business, but 100% I work for Raw Living. Raw Living doesn't work for me. I'm definitely in service to this company that needs to exist on the planet right now, and I'm just doing what Raw Living tells me to do. I'm doing what Raw Living needs me to do. So therefore, because I have that faith in it as a business, I have faith that someone else who loves doing numbers and is really good at doing numbers will come and do that, and someone else who's good at sales, that really loves doing sales, will come and do that. And it's, I think, being able to delegate, I think not being a workaholic, because we have this idea is that we have to work really hard to make things happen, and I think that in itself is erroneous, in that you can put a lot of energy into something to make it happen, and if you feel like staying up to 4 o'clock in the morning to do it, then that's wonderful. And if you feel like doing 70 hours on it in that project in that week because you're so excited about it, like I imagine when Steve was writing his book, which I haven't looked at, but I imagine that you were really excited about writing that, and you wanted to do it, and you felt like you had to do it, and those are the things that you put your energy into. But when you feel like something's hard work, when you feel like you really don't want to do it, when you feel resistance around it, then step away from it and find someone else who can take over that part of it for you, and find ways that you don't need to do that, because everything should be, that's what I was saying about the intention behind what you're doing is so key. If you're creating this business and putting all your positive, joyful, enthusiastic intentions in it, like I imagine Steve doing with his book, then people, like, you can, that's what I'm saying, is you can sense this. Like I'm saying, I haven't even opened the page, but I can just sense from it that you really wanted to make this, and this gave you a lot of joy to make it. And I don't need to read the words to know that. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if someone had said to you, oh, we're going to pay you this much, and you might have made more money from it, but if you were doing it because you had to do it because someone else wanted you to do it, you wouldn't have been able to put your heart and soul into it like that, and then it wouldn't be such a good book. So it's finding the things that really, I think, make your heart sing, because when you find the things that make your heart sing, you can't stop yourself from doing them. And when the kids were little, I cared so much about the home education thing and being there with them and having that fun time with them, because you can't change that. You can't be like, okay kids, wait a few years till my business has grown, then I'll play with you. Like, you have to give it to them then, or it's now or never, isn't it? And the same with the business. And it was an exciting time, that kind of 2005, 2006, 2007 time. I wrote the Raw Magic book at that point, and we were making all the cakes for the first time. It was really exciting. So I was really happy to be putting it all in. And that's what I was saying to the guy this afternoon. Like, at some points I was working a 70-hour week between the kids and the business, but I was loving it so much it didn't feel like work. And that's how it should always be. Like, if you're loving it, then you're meant to be doing it. And if you're not loving it, then ask, do I really need to do it? Maybe someone else can do it. Maybe it doesn't need to get done. And it's having that kind of spiritual viewpoint of being in alignment with everything and accepting everything and knowing that everything that's meant to be is meant to be. So if you're meant to be doing it, it will flow and it will work. And if you're not, just let go of it, and that's fine. I think as well is like, just knowing that you're never going to get it done, you never get it finished, it's never over. So you've got to be in the process of it. It's like you've got to be happy doing it right now, because it's not like, oh, I'll get this done and then I can be happy. It doesn't work like that, does it? You never get it done, and also that you can't get it wrong. Like, there's no good and bad, there's no right and wrong. It's just if you're doing it and you're enjoying it, then that's the right thing. And if you're doing it and not enjoying it, then it's not the right thing, and that's all. It's not like, so what I was saying just now is like, there's no mistakes, because mistakes are, so my colonic cardiotherapist has it in her toilet, I've learned so much from my mistakes, I'm thinking of making some more. Like, isn't it though? Like, you learn so much from the things that go wrong, from the things that happen that you don't want to happen, from the sad times, from the bad times, from the difficult times, from the challenging times. That's actually when you grow the most. 2016 was a horrible, horrible year for me, and I think it was a horrible, horrible year for a lot of people. It was the year of Brexit and Trump, and there was a lot of death that year. A lot of people close to me had people dying, or children dying, or pets dying, or it was a really difficult year for so many of us. But I grew so much in that year as a person, and I changed so much in that year. Maybe it's one of the most defining years of my life in terms of how I dealt with all the stresses of that year and how I came out of it as a stronger, more wiser person. So at the end of the year, I was like, well, I could look at it from either way. I could look at it and say, like, I've had one of the worst years of my life, or I could look at it from the perspective of how much have I grown. I've actually had one of the best years of my life in terms of personal development. So it's, it's always perspective, isn't it? When you're looking at it from the perspective of that you don't, when we're talking about this outside, you don't beat yourself up about your mistakes. And I think that maybe that's one of my biggest strengths, is my resilience, is that, I fuck up as much as everyone. I have heartbreak as much as everyone. I have difficult times and stressful times, and things go wrong as much as everyone. But I think I'm really good at picking myself up again and just going, okay, today's today, I'm going to start again, I'm going to carry on, I'm going to, that resilience. And I think a lot of that resilience comes from the raw foods and the superfoods, and just having that ability to just bounce back and go, that was yesterday, I'm still here, I still got my heart, I've still got my soul, and I've still got something to give, and I'm just going to keep putting my energy into, we were talking about this outside, about what I can do, what I can create, what I can put right, rather than focusing on the way that I might have messed things up, or the way that I perceive I messed things up, or the way I perceive someone else messed things up. So it's just that, I think, that resilience to just kind of keep going.
Happy days. So big hands for Cape Magic, everyone.